let's move quickly through a couple of key election issues. Deficits. You broke your deficit promise in the last election. You said we'd have a balance. By now, we're 19 billion over. Does Justin Trudeau believe that balancing the books is not important? Clearly, you have no plan to balance.
We take very seriously the idea of fiscal responsibility, and we know that there's people concerned about fiscal responsibility and our approach. We have a very different approach than the Conservatives did. We believe putting money into infrastructure, putting money in the pockets of middle-class Canadians actually helps grow the economy, and it has. We've got the lowest unemployment in 40 years. We've created 800,000 new jobs. We are showing a growing economy after 10 years of anemic growth. Now, I get that there are concerns about whether we are fiscally responsible, and politicians will say all sorts of things on either side. So let's look at the objective experts. The top bond holders in the world, the ratings agencies that actually lend money to countries like Canada so that we can invest, have rated our fiscal plan AAA. They have total confidence in our capacity to move forward responsibly because every single year we are reducing our debt as a share of our whole economy in a way that is better than just about any other country in the world.
I was under the impression that on sunny days you fix your roof. And what's happening is your deficit spending to create growth. Those are all true numbers, but foreign direct investment is down. Productivity is down.
Actually,
competitiveness.
sorry. Foreign direct investment you can't just take a piece of it, Evan.
That's not,
yes.
But that's an incredibly important
but
part
foreign
of our economy.
direct investment is up across the economy, a little down in the oil patch, and that is significant, and we are working on that. But let's not misrepresent how well our economy is doing.
The concern is what happens when we hit a recession. Okay. If you're running $19 billion deficits now, your fiscal capacity to deal with a rainy day is got to be worse.
Actually, that's not true, and for two reasons. First of all, the ratings agencies have given us that AAA because they are confident in our ability to withstand shocks in the future if they come. Secondly, when Canadians have better jobs, when they have more education, when we have solid infrastructure, either climate change, resilient infrastructure to protect us from floods, or more public transit, or more housing, Canadians do better even if there are difficult times in the economy. That's the choice we made, to invest in our communities, to invest in our future, and that's what's giving Canadians confidence.
Elections coming up. Will you call an early election, or will you rule that out?
No, we will have an election on the fixed election date of October 21st, I believe it is. What will the ballot box question be in this election? It'll be who has the right plan to ensure a better future for Canadians.
Biggest challenge in the year ahead?
Continuing to connect with Canadians and demonstrate that a thoughtful, reasonable approach to solving our problems is better than the politics of fear, division, of stirring up populist anger, and not really providing answers that are longer than fit on a bumper sticker.
Part of the election will be about trust. The last election, you promised election reform, you broke the promise. You promised balanced budgets, you broke the promise. Why should people trust you?
We have committed to growing the economy in ways that worked for Canadians, and we have done that. After 10 years of the lowest growth rate since the Great Depression under Stephen Harper, we've created strong growth in Canada. We've helped millions of Canadians with things like the Canada Child Benefit. We've invested in infrastructure. We've moved forward on reconciliation with Indigenous peoples in real ways. We are delivering on the very ambitious promises we made to Canadians.
Well, let's look at one of the promises, which Canada is back. You used to say that a lot. But just look at Saudi Arabia. With the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, many attribute that Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, the Crown Prince, was responsible for that. We haven't canceled the $1 billion light armored vehicle contract to them. We're still importing 80,000 barrels of oil a day. And we didn't put him on the sanctions list.
Well, first
is
of all,
that what it means to be Canada's back, to do that?
The murder of a journalist is absolutely unacceptable, and that's why Canada from the very beginning had been demanding answers and solutions on that. Secondly, we inherited actually a $15 billion contract signed by Stephen Harper to export light armored vehicles to Saudi Arabia. We are engaged with the export permits to try and see if there is a way of no longer exporting these vehicles to Saudi Arabia.
All right, here's some rapid fire questions. Hardest moment in the last year?
leaving my family for long trips at any given moment.
World leader you best get along with?
Probably Jacinda Ardern of New Zealand. She's an excellent person and a strong progressive.
One word to describe Donald Trump?
Unpredictable.
One word to describe Vladimir Putin?
Problematic.
Sussex Drive, renovate it or tear it down and rebuild it?
The problem with that is it's not a decision that the Prime Minister should be making. It's a decision that Canadians need to reflect on.
Biggest regret?
This year, the India trip. There were good things that came out of it, but it was...
What about it do you regret?
I think there were lots of things we'd do differently. I think the good things that came out of it were overshadowed by headlines.
Me Too moment, that has been a defining feature of the last generation, or the last number of years. Being a feminist has been a core value to you and your government. Do you think when there was an allegation against you from a long time ago, but it came up again, do you think you held yourself to the same standard that you have held others to?
Yes, I do. And I think it was really important to share in a thoughtful way my reflections on this in a way that left space for the woman to be supported and believed in how she came forward, and for us to understand the lessons that need to be learned about how our behaviors can be interpreted and experienced in very different ways.
Immigration is going to be a big issue in the border. What will you do to stop the asylum seekers from coming over the border in Canada? Many attribute your tweet to that. What will you do to stop that?
I think we have been engaging substantively with communities in the United States likely to think that there is a shortcut into Canada, and we're demonstrating and letting them understand that no, that anyone who crosses the border legally or illegally, irregularly or regularly, gets a full security screening, goes through the entirety of our security process, and if they are not genuinely fleeing for their lives, they will be sent back to their country of origin.
Prime Minister, the last question I've got is about the most important thing to Canadians, is healthcare. And there's two fundamental issues. The first is pharmacare. Many people believe you will announce a national pharmacare plan. There are people dying because they can't afford drugs. There are Canadians borrowing money because they can't afford drugs. Will you put on the table a national pharmacare program?
Well, we understand how important healthcare is. That's why we move forward on historic investments in mental health and in home care for our seniors as a commitment last time.
Pharmacare.
This time, we have asked a panel of experts led by Dr. Eric Hoskins to look at pharmacare in Canada and make recommendations for us early in the new year on what way we can move forward to go at this problem that, yes, Canadians are extremely worried about, and we will act.
Campaign will be nasty or good? Friendly or nasty, or what? What is it? Is it going to be like the U.S.?
From my perspective, it's going to be a very positive campaign. The others will make their decisions about how they run their campaigns.
Prime Minister, thank you for taking the time. We really appreciate it, and we know you're at home here in the science lab.
It's great to be here. Great to be back in the classroom.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Evan.